Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's get started with today's story. I can still see it clear as day, even though I don't try. It was a regular Wednesday night in Denver, cold wind rattling the windows, nothing urgent on the calendar. I walked in from the site, kicked off my dusty work boots, and dropped onto the couch beside Sarah. She already had our usual crime series queued up on the TV. No tension in the room, no weird vibe, just another ordinary night in the little house we bought 6 years earlier. Halfway through the episode, during one of those slow, quiet scenes, she hit pause. I figured she missed a line or wanted more popcorn. Instead, she sat up straight, folded her hands in her lap like she was about to deliver quarterly numbers at the office, and looked right at me. "Jake, I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me out without freaking out." I didn't answer. Just waited. She took a long breath. "I love you as a person, but I'm not in love with you anymore." The living room didn't move, but something inside it did. The air got thick, like someone had closed an invisible door and locked it behind them. She kept going, softer now. "I don't want to blow everything up. I don't want screaming or slamming doors. I can't keep pretending everything's the way it used to be. I need to be honest." I nodded once. Not angry, not cold, just a nod. She stared at me, waiting for the explosion that never came. "Jake, did you hear me?" "I heard you." "And that's it? Nothing?" "What do you want me to say, Sarah?" She blinked, thrown. "I don't know. Something. I don't want us to fall apart. I still want the closeness, the routines, the good parts, just without forcing feelings that aren't there right now." "Okay," I said. That one word hung in the air like smoke. She searched my face for the crack she expected, tears, yelling, begging, anything that proved I still cared the way she thought I should. But there was nothing to find, and I stood up, grabbed my pillow off the ottoman, and started down the hall. "Where are you going?" she asked, voice climbing half an octave. "Guest room." "Jake, wait, that's what you took from everything I just said?" I stopped in the doorway and looked back at her. "You asked me to stay calm. This is me staying calm." The look on her face in that moment told me more than any argument ever could. She dropped a bomb expecting shrapnel, and I just stepped around it without bleeding. A quiet man can shift the temperature of an entire house with nothing more than a choice. But what neither of us knew yet was that her confession wasn't the bomb at all, that it was the timer. The next morning I was up before the sun, mind already made up like concrete that had set overnight. When someone tells you plain they're not in love with you, there's no fog left to wander around in. You just start walking. I brewed 1 cup of coffee. Sarah shuffled in a minute later, hair twisted up in that messy knot, wearing the old Broncos t-shirt she always stole from me. She stopped in the doorway when she saw the single mug. "You didn't make me any," she said, half question, half accusation. "You said you wanted no pressure," I answered, rinsing my cup in the sink. "Pressure removed." She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. "Jake, that's not what I meant." I walked past her to the laundry room and started a load, only my work jeans, my shirts, my socks. She followed like a kid trying to read a sign in a foreign language. "Are you punishing me?" "No, then why are you acting like I died?" "Because part of us did last night," I said, pouring detergent. "I'm just treating the body with respect." She hugged herself, defensive now. "I told you I'm not in love right now. That doesn't mean we stop being husband and wife. Couples go through dry spells. Feelings come back." "They can," I said, closing the washer lid. "But you changed the rules without asking. I'm updating my half of the contract to match." I handed her a single sheet of paper I'd written before she woke up. Bullet points, black ink, no emotion, separate grocery runs, separate laundry days, separate streaming logins, separate checking accounts by Friday. "Guest room is mine until further notice." She stared at it like I'd handed her divorce papers already. "Jake, we've been married 8 years. You're turning us into roommates because of one conversation." "Until the category changes back," I said, "roommates is exactly what we are." Her eyes glistened, but no tears fell. She wasn't ready for consequences. She thought calm meant I hadn't felt the knife. That I canceled the cabin weekend we'd booked for our anniversary. Non-refundable, didn't care. She got the confirmation email while I was brushing my teeth and came storming down the hall. "You canceled your A? Without even talking to me." "You changed the terms without talking to me," I said, spitting toothpaste. "Turnaround's fair play." She stood there in the doorway, barefoot, clutching her phone like it might bite her. For the first time since she hit pause on that TV show, Sarah looked small. 2 nights later we had to show up at our friend's place, Ryan and Nicole's anniversary dinner. 8 people, Italian restaurant downtown, string lights, too much red wine. Sarah spent 45 minutes on her makeup, picked the dress I used to say made her look unstoppable. She wanted the room to see us as the same old Jake and Sarah. The second we sat down, she looped her arm through mine like nothing had changed. I slid my arm free, slow and polite, and reached for the water glass instead. She froze, then forced the brightest smile I'd ever seen. "He's just exhausted from the job site," she announced to the table. Nicole gave me a curious look. Ryan lifted an eyebrow that said he wasn't buying it. Conversation rolled on. Kids, jobs, somebody's new Tesla. Sarah kept touching my forearm, laughing too loud, leaning into me like a stage actress who'd forgotten the script changed. When the check came, the server set it in front of me out of habit. Old Jake would have grabbed it, covered half the table without blinking. New Jake pushed it to the center. "I'm good for mine and Sarah's share," I told the group. "Venmo works." Silence rippled outward like someone dropped a stone in still water. Ryan chuckled nervously. "Bro, you always take care of everybody." "Not tonight." Sarah's hand found my knee under the table, nails digging in. "Jake. Outside. Now." I looked at her calmly. "You first." She excused herself to the restroom. Nicole followed to check her lipstick. When they came back, Sarah's eyes were red but dried out. On the drive home she finally broke, voice shaking but low. "You humiliated me in front of our friends. You changed the marriage in private," I said, eyes on the snow-dusted road, "then expected me to perform the old version in public. That's not how this works anymore." She stared out the window the rest of the way. Streetlights painted moving stripes across her face, and for the first time I think she started to realize the test she'd set in motion wasn't turning out the way she'd bet. She had no idea the results were already on their way. Sunday afternoon, the house was quiet except for the low hum of the furnace kicking on. I was tightening a loose cabinet knob in the kitchen when my phone buzzed on the counter. "Lena, my cousin called me the second you're alone. It's about Sarah." I stepped out onto the back porch, cold biting through my flannel, and hit call. Lena didn't even say hello. "I just forwarded you screenshots. Check them now." "I'm sorry, Jake." They came in one after another: group chat, Sarah, her coworker Brandon, and her best friend Tessa. Someone had added Lena by accident for a happy hour thread, then never removed her. She'd screenshotted everything before dipping out. I read them leaning against the porch rail, breath fogging in the January air. "Sarah, 2 days before the Wednesday confession, I finally told Jake I'm not in love with him anymore. Now we see what he does. Tessa, if he fights, you'll know he still cares. If he just takes it, then maybe he never really did. Brandon, girl, if he stays chill, that's your green light. Calm equals checked out. Come find someone who actually gets excited." Smirking face, I volunteer as tribute. Sarah, he never freaks out. Never has. So yeah, this is the ultimate test. If he begs, we still have something. If he goes cold, then I know I'm right to feel dead inside. Another message from her, time-stamped the morning after she moved me to the guest room. "He made 1 coffee. 1. And gave me a damn chore chart. Guys, I think he's actually done." Brandon sent a string of laughing emojis and a champagne pop gif. I lowered the phone. The mountains looked exactly the same as they had 5 minutes ago, but the ground under me felt different. She hadn't come to me with honesty. She'd come with a litmus test, and she'd already decided what my reaction was worth before I even opened my mouth. Lena's voice came back on the line, soft. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Thanks for sending them." I walked inside. Sarah was curled on the couch scrolling TikTok, feet tucked under the blanket we used to fight over on movie nights. She looked up and smiled like it was any other Sunday. "Everything good?" I set the phone face up on the coffee table so the screen lit with the chat still open. "You tell me." The smile melted off her face the way snow slides off a warm roof, fast, then all at once. "Jake, it's not." "Read it out loud," I said, voice flat. "Start with the part where my love gets graded on how loud I beg." She reached for the phone like she could still delete the evidence. I didn't move. "That was just venting," she whispered. "Brandon's an idiot, Tessa eggs me on, you know how group chats get, you called it the ultimate test. You told them if I stayed calm it proved I never loved you." I kept my eyes on hers. "You didn't want truth, Sarah. You wanted theater. And you wanted me to perform on cue." Her chin trembled. "First real crack I'd seen." "I was scared," she said, voice breaking. "You're always so steady, I couldn't tell if you even felt anything anymore. I thought if I pushed, you thought if you hurt me hard enough, I'd bleed on schedule so you could measure it." She stood up, blanket falling to the floor. "I didn't mean for it to, but you did mean for it," I cut in. You wrote it down. You bragged about it. You invited an audience. Tears finally spilled, but they weren't the kind that softened me anymore. I don't want to lose you, she said. You lost me the second you decided my worth depended on how pretty I could cry for you. I walked past her to the hallway closet, pulled out the folder I'd picked up from the printer that morning. She watched me like I was a stranger holding a loaded gun. What's that? She asked. Divorce papers, I said. Uncontested. Fair split. Sign whenever you're ready. Her knees buckled. She caught the arm of the couch to stay upright. You're ending us because I sent some stupid texts? No, I said, setting the folder on the counter next to her keys. I'm ending us because you turned our marriage into a pop quiz and already circled the answer you wanted before you handed me the pencil. She stared at the manila folder like it might bite her. I grabbed my coat. Where are you going? She asked, voice small. To get some air. When I come back, you can either sign them or call your own lawyer. Either way, the test is over. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me without slamming it. The cold felt clean. For the first time in years, I wasn't waiting to see which version of Sarah I'd get when I walked back in. Because I already knew which version of me she was about to meet. And he wasn't taking the test again. Monday morning I met Cole, my lawyer and the guy who's had my back since high school football, at a little coffee joint off Colfax. No drama, no pity party. Cole read the screenshots once, slid my phone back across the table, and gave a low whistle. That's not a rough patch, brother. That's contempt with a side of audience. Exactly, I said. Draw it up clean and fast. He nodded. Done by end of week. You want the house? I want quiet. She can have the house if it keeps things simple. Cole scribbled a note. She's gonna wake up swinging when these hit her inbox. You ready? She woke up swinging the day she decided my pain was her science project. I'm just handing back the results. By the time I got home that afternoon, Sarah was at the kitchen island clutching a mug like it was the only solid thing left in the world. She looked like she hadn't slept. Good. You already talked to Cole? She asked, voice raw. Signed everything this morning. Her knuckles went white around the ceramic. 3 days, Jake. You gave us 3 days. You gave us 8 years and then graded them with your friends over emojis. I'm just efficient. She pushed a new sheet of notebook paper toward me, her own list, shaky handwriting, counseling, 3 months, date nights, phone passcodes on the table, Brandon blocked, I'll do anything. I didn't touch it. Too late for extra credit, I said. She started crying then, real tears, ugly ones, the kind that don't care about an audience. I didn't sleep with him. I need you to know that. Didn't ask. Doesn't matter. You auditioned him as my replacement before you even told me the part was open. I set the divorce papers on top of her list. 2 signatures needed. One was already there, mine steady and black. She stared at it like the ink might fade if she blinked hard enough. I thought you'd fight, she whispered. That was the whole problem, I said. You wanted a show. I just wanted a wife. The next 2 weeks were quiet on the surface. 2 strangers orbiting the same fridge, same mailbox, same Wi-Fi password. She left for work before I woke up, came home after the gym. Some nights I'd hear her crying through the bedroom door and kept walking. Not because I enjoyed it, but because pity wasn't going to rebuild what she dynamited. Then one Thursday she showed up at my job site with a paper bag from the barbecue joint I love, standing there in the dust and noise like nothing had changed. Thought you might be hungry, she said, voice small under the sound of nail guns. The crew pretended not to stare. I took the bag, set it on a stack of 2x4s. Thanks. I'll eat on break. She lingered. Can we talk? 5 minutes. I walked her to the trailer office, closed the door against the wind. Inside, she started fast, words tumbling. I quit happy hour drinks. Deleted the group chat. Blocked Brandon on everything. I'll go to therapy alone, together, whatever you want. I was stupid and scared, and I broke the one thing that ever felt safe. Please, Jake. I'm begging. I let her finish. Then I said the only thing left to say. You didn't break the thing that felt safe. You proved it never was. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. The papers are with Cole. You can pick them up tomorrow or have them mailed. Either way, next Friday at 10 a.m. we sign in front of the judge. After that we're done pretending. Tears ran down her cheeks, smearing the mascara she'd started wearing again like war paint. I never thought you'd actually leave, she said. I know, I answered. That's why I'm not staying. She walked out of the trailer without the bag of food. I watched her cross the site, boots crunching on gravel, shoulders folded in like someone twice her age. That night I ate the barbecue alone on the tailgate of my truck, city lights blinking awake below. The ribs tasted exactly the same as always. But for the first time in years, nothing in my chest felt like it was waiting to be fed by someone else's mood point. One more week and the waiting would be over for good. The final piece was coming, and it wasn't going to be quiet for her. Friday, 10 a.m., came in like any other winter morning in Denver. Bright, cold, and mercilessly cleared. We sat on opposite sides of a long table in a small conference room that smelled like old coffee and copier toner. No courtroom, no drama, just Cole, Sarah's lawyer, a tired woman who kept checking her phone, and the judge's clerk who looked about 19. Sarah had lost weight. The navy blazer hung loose on her shoulders, and she kept twisting the wedding ring she still hadn't taken off. I'd stopped wearing mine the day I signed. The clerk slid the agreement across. 60 seconds of pen scratching, initials in boxes, 2 full signatures at the end. Done. 8 years reduced to a quiet click of ballpoints. The clerk stamped the pages, gave the standard "you're free to go" smile, and that was it. No speeches, no last-second tears in the hallway. Sarah stood first, hugged the folder to her chest like it might fly away, and walked out without looking back. Cole clapped my shoulder. "You good." "Better than good," I said. Outside, the courthouse steps were slick with melted snow. She was waiting by her car, breath fogging in the air. "Jake." I stopped. She swallowed hard. "I just wanted to say, I get it now. You didn't leave because you're cold. You left because I taught you the stove was hot by burning your hand on purpose. I'm sorry. I'll be sorry for the rest of my life." I nodded once. "I believe you. Doesn't change the address on the papers." She tried a broken smile. "Take care of yourself, okay?" "You too, Sarah." She got in her car and drove east toward her sister's place. I watched the taillights disappear, then walked to my truck and never looked back. 3 months later, the house sold faster than I expected. I kept the tools, the grill, and half the savings. She kept the couch we picked out the week we got engaged and whatever memories still fit on it. Word trickled in the way it always does. She took a leave from work. Quit the group chats. Brandon got transferred to Phoenix after HR got an anonymous packet of screenshots. Funny how that happens. Tessa tried to apologize through mutual friends. I never answered. One night in April, she texted from a new number. "Sarah, I was wrong about everything. I hope someday you believe that. I read it twice, set the phone face down, and went back to the baseball game on TV. Some doors you don't reopen, not out of anger, but because the house on the other side already burned down. These days I wake up when I want, brew 1 cup of coffee, and the quiet doesn't feel empty, it feels earned. I rebuilt the days brick by brick. Gym at 6, job sites by 8, steak on the grill when the sun drops behind the front range. No tension humming under the surface, no waiting for the next test. People still ask what happened. I give them the short version. She wanted to see if I'd break to prove I loved her. I didn't break. Turns out that was the answer she couldn't live with. Then I changed the subject, because the story's over. Peace didn't chase me down. I walked straight to it, calm the whole way, and it opened the door without asking me to prove a damn thing. Thanks for listening.